6 days before the Passover ceremonies began, Jesus arrived in Bethany, where Lazarus lived, the man he had brought back to life. When the ordinary people of Jerusalem heard of his arrival, they flocked to see him and also to see Lazarus. Then the chief priests decided to kill him, for it was because of him that many of the Jewish leaders had deserted and believed in Jesus as their Messiah. The next day, the news that Jesus was on the way to Jerusalem swept through the city, and a huge crowd of Passover visitors took palm branches and went down the road to meet him, shouting, "Long live the King! Long live the King! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord! Bless the King! Blessed is the kingdom he is bringing! God save the King!" Jesus rode along on a young donkey, fulfilling the prophecy that said, "Don't be afraid of your king, people of Israel, for he will come to you meekly, sitting on a donkey's colt." Those in the crowd who had seen Jesus call Lazarus back to life told everyone else about it. That was the main reason why so many went out to meet him, because they had heard about this mighty miracle. Then the Pharisees said to one another, "We've lost. The whole world has gone after him." But some of the Pharisees among the crowd said to Jesus, "Sir, rebuke your followers for saying things like that." He replied, "If they keep quiet, the stones around the road will burst into cheering." On the first day of the Passover, the day the lambs were sacrificed, Jesus' disciples asked him where he wanted to go to eat the traditional Passover supper. He sent 2 of them into Jerusalem to make the arrangements. "As you are walking along," he told them, "you will see a man coming towards you carrying a pot of water. Follow him. At the house he enters, tell the man in charge, 'Our master sent us to see the room you have ready for us, where we will eat the Passover supper this evening.' He will take you upstairs to a large room all laid out. Prepare our supper there." So the 2 disciples went on ahead into the city and found everything as Jesus had said, and prepared the Passover. That evening, as he sat eating with the 12, he said, "One of you will betray me." Sorrow chilled their hearts, and each one asked, "Am I the one?" He replied, "It is the one I served first, for I must die, just as was prophesied. But woe to the man by whom I am betrayed. Far better for that one if he had never been born." Judas too had asked him, "Rabbi, am I the one?" And Jesus had told him, "Yes." As they were eating, Jesus took a small loaf of bread and blessed it, and broke it apart and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take it and eat it, for this is my body." And he took a cup of wine and gave thanks for it, and gave it to them and said, "Each one drink from it, for this is my blood sealing the new covenant. It is poured out to forgive the sins of multitudes. Mark my words, I will not drink this wine again until the day I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, "Tonight you will all desert me, for it is written in the Scriptures that God will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have been brought back to life again, I will go to Galilee and meet you there." Peter declared, "If everyone else deserts you, I won't." Jesus told him, "The truth is that this very night before the cock crows at dawn, you will deny me 3 times. "I would die first," Peter insisted, and all the other disciples said the same thing. Then Jesus brought them to a garden grove, Gethsemane, and told them to sit down and wait while he went on ahead to pray.
The night is cold and quiet, my Lord. Oh, let this cup pass from my lips, for I am so afraid. Father, help me now, I pray. Save me from
At last he stood up again and returned to the disciples, only to find them asleep, exhausted from grief. He said, "Sleep on, get your rest." But no, the time for sleep has ended. Look, I am betrayed into the hands of wicked men. Come on, get up, we must go. Look, my betrayer is here. And immediately while he was speaking, Judas arrived with a mob equipped with swords and clubs, sent out by the chief priests and other Jewish leaders. Judas had told them, "You will know which one to arrest when I go over and greet him. Then you can take him easily." So as soon as they arrived, he walked up to Jesus.
Peace be with you, teacher. This is something I must do. There's a crowd of people waiting, and they're waiting here for you. Do it quickly, brother Judas, for I know the time has come. But your weapons won't be needed. You can see my friends have gone.
Surely you were with this Jesus when the business first began.
I don't understand your question, and I never knew the man.
I could swear I saw you with him,
Well, that's something I deny.
but you're clearly Galilean.
You're mistaken, that's a lie. Listen to me, God knows I have never seen this man before today. How can I convince you there's no truth in what you say? God knows I deny the accusations you have made. How can I convince you I've no knowledge of his way? How can I convince you I've no knowledge of his way? Did I hear a cock crow? Leave me now. What was it Jesus said? Did I hear a cock crow once again? What was it Jesus said? I heard a cock crow, Jesus. I remember what you said.
Son of my heart, where are you roaming? I have wandered see a stranger held in chains and taken from me? Where is the child I gave my life to? What words remain when daylight fades? Son of the world, son of the
Early in the morning, the chief priests, elders, and teachers of religion, the entire Supreme Court, met to discuss the next step. They decided to send Jesus under armed guard to the palace of Pilate, the Roman governor.
You can see the situation, the position that I'm in. I'd just have you whipped and beaten, but this crowd intend to win. I may be a Roman governor, but my hands are really tied, and you're about to be the only king I ever crucified. They said to us, crucify him, set Barabbas free. They'd rather have a murderer than let this man blaspheme. Crucify him, set Barabbas free. They'd rather have a murderer than let this man blaspheme. They'd rather have a murderer than let this man blaspheme. I'll have nothing more to do with you. I value my career. I'll have nothing more to do with you. My heart is filled with fear. I take no responsibility. Take him away from here.
So Pilate sentenced Jesus to die, as they demanded, and he released Barabbas, the man imprisoned for insurrection and murder, at their request. He ordered Jesus to be flogged with a leaded whip and handed him over to be crucified. Then the Roman soldiers took him into the barracks of the palace, called out the entire palace guard, dressed him in a purple robe and made a crown of long, sharp thorns and put it on his head. Then they saluted, yelling, "Long live the King of the Jews!" And they beat him on the head with a cane and spat on him, and went down on their knees to worship him. When they finally tired of their sport, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes on him again, and led him away to be crucified. On their way to the execution grounds, they came across a man from Cyrene in Africa.
Simon, carry my cross. It's so heavy. They beat me till I fell. My strength has gone, and now I need your help.
And they brought Jesus to a place called Golgotha, Golgotha means skull. Wine drugged with bitter herbs was offered to him there, but he refused it. And then they crucified him and threw dice for his clothes. Father, forgive these people, Jesus said, for they don't know what they're doing. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning when the crucifixion took place. Pilate posted a sign over him reading, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. The place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and the signboard was written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek, so that many people could read it. Then the chief priest said to Pilate, "Change it from the King of the Jews to, he said, I am King of the Jews." Pilate replied, "What I have written, I have written. It stays exactly as it is." People jeered at him as they walked by and wagged their heads in mockery. "Ah, look at you now," they yelled at him. "So you can destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. If you're so wonderful, save yourself and come down from the cross." Religious leaders were also standing around joking about Jesus. "He's quite clever at saving others," they said, "but he can't save himself." "Hey there, Messiah," they shouted at him. "You, King of Israel, come on down from the cross and we'll believe you."
Nearly done. I'm feeling cold. Giving all this body holds. The story never It's been so long, my hands are numb, and soon I will be gone. Then the battle will be won.
Early Sunday morning, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and found that the stone was rolled aside from the entrance. She ran and found Simon Peter and me and said, "They've taken the Lord's body out of the tomb, and I don't know where they've put him." We ran to the tomb to see. I outran Peter and got there first and stooped and looked in and saw the linen cloth lying there, but I didn't go in. Then Simon Peter arrived and went on inside. He also noticed the cloth lying there, while the bandage that had covered Jesus' head was rolled up in a bundle and was lying at the side. Then I went in too and saw and believed that he had risen, for until then we hadn't realized that the scriptures said he would come to life again. We went on home, and by that time Mary had returned to the tomb and was standing outside crying. She glanced over her shoulder and saw someone standing behind her. It was Jesus, but she didn't recognize him. "Why are you crying?" he asked her. "Who are you looking for?" "Sir," she said, "if you've taken him away, tell me where you've put him, and I will go and get him." "Mary," Jesus said. She turned towards him. "Master," she exclaimed. Mary Magdalene found the disciples and told them.
Brothers, I have seen the Lord. I have seen a new day rise. Oh, friends, I have seen the Lord. I have seen the sun in his eyes, in his eyes. Away, I have seen the Lord. I have seen the nighttime die. Oh, peace, I have seen the Lord. His life that will never die, never die. Jesus is alive. 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 Jesus is alive.
and you spread my light throughout all life. Peace be